JavaScript is a pain in the neck to learn. It's a tricky language, but as web developers, it's a mandatory thing we have to pick up in order to do our jobs. I recently stumbled across an all-out awesome method for learning JavaScript and all its little quirks, and today you're going to see what it's all about. RealToughCandy from RealToughCandy.com, back online with you guys today. I was stalking Twitter the other day and I came across this post by Becca Williams. She is a web developer in Australia. I have no idea how I stumbled across this. I don't follow anyone on Twitter anymore. Who really knows? It was just in the cards. It was meant to be. This method can change the game if you're having trouble learning JavaScript. I've never seen anyone else talk about this. I've never seen anyone else do it. This is the first time I'm seeing this, and I just had to share it. So she said, this was like June 3rd, to help me deal with overwhelm at work, I picked a code file I struggled to understand. Then I wrote down as many questions as I could think of to ask, 70 plus for 60 lines, and researched them. Also regularly asked for feedback to check my understanding. Progress has been fire. So here is her little snippet she shared. Code block currently focused on, maybe like 20 lines or something? But think of all the questions you can start asking, just going line by line, literally taking it from the first line and then going all the way to the end. Here's she sharing question number 56 she had. What does the variable script contain? Which you can see in this first line, const script. 57, what does script.source do? Which is in the second line right here. I saw this, I said, this is awesome. Is it published on GitHub or anywhere? Because I want to share this with my subscribers. And she was kind enough to get back to me. Most people I talk to on Twitter are just like, yeah, whatever, dork. But she got back to me and said, this isn't published anywhere because it's all for work code, which has to stay private. I should be doing more for personal projects, so I'll upload them and get back to you when I do, but not sure when that will be. Thanks for your interest. Really nice of Becca to get back to me, even though this is some work code stuff and she can't share anymore the main protein she has shared with the world. And the awesome thing about this is that you can just start today using one line of code. So it doesn't have to be totally outrageous, hundreds of thousands of lines. You could even apply this method to something as simple as console.log. So it's one line of code, right? When you start breaking it down into smaller and smaller chunks, you can actually start to understand what is going on. And this is so critical when you're starting to learn more advanced concepts like a front-end framework or any advanced web topic. So some of the questions you could ask yourself are, what is console? What's the dot? You could also ask, what is log? You could ask, why are there parentheses around this thing that says hey? You could also ask, what do those quotes do? Then you could also ask, why is there a semicolon at the end of this whole thing? If you really thought about this, you could probably whip up 15 or 20 more questions, but these are the most obvious ones. I mean, if you don't know the answers to these, this could take you hours just to discover this stuff, think about this stuff. Do you want to spend 4 or 5 hours analyzing console.log? Maybe. This is the foundational stuff of any programming language. What is this called? What does this do? Why does my phrase have parentheses around it? And as you answer these things, you're going to find that a lot of this stuff is just the cornerstone of any programming language. For example, the stuff between the parentheses, this is called a string. They're very useful and very critical in JavaScript and other programming languages, but that's a major computer science term, and there's a few others thrown in this with just these questions, and it can really put a new spin on learning how to code, on learning computer science, and seeing the bigger picture of this stuff. Taking it a step further, what if you actually want to take something that's like 50 to 100 lines? Well, you could do that too, and that would be a huge education. That could really take weeks. Let's go to one of my repos here. Do this one with React. The cool thing about this method too is that you don't have to stick to vanilla JavaScript. Once you get that down, you can go and do something with something like React. Go in here, we'll go to my app.js file. There's a lot of good stuff in there, I'm sure. App.js, I think it's like 80 lines, 81 lines. So what I can do, because this is a demo, I'm just going to copy and paste it. Look at how many potential questions you can ask yourself. Now, if you already know what some of this stuff does, it might be good practice just to articulate what you already know. That's something that sometimes gets a lot of us, whether we're aspiring developers or have been around for a hot minute. We know what these things are in our head, but then when we try to write about them or talk about them, we're like deer in the headlights. So it could be good practice, even if you do know what import means and what it does, even if you know why this React R right here is capitalized, even if you know what a class is, so on and so forth. But something like this, I mean, you could have 5 and 6 questions just for each line, and it's just so much more interactive than doing it in a video that everyone else has watched and done, with projects everyone else has watched and done, and you're doing it with lines of code that you find interesting, with projects that you find interesting. I just think this method has so many possibilities, and it improves your research skills as well, because with this seemingly measly 82 lines of code, you're typing a lot of questions, you're refining your questions. Because of that, eventually you're going to be able to ask really precise questions that's going to improve your coding efficiency and how you work with others as well. Being able to break down a problem into the smallest parts is what programming is all about. Thank you, Becca, for sharing this. She says progress has been fire. So give this one a try if you're having trouble with JavaScript or you just want a fresh new way. If you know what this stuff is, bottom line is that you're gonna be a better programmer. Shout out to Becca Williams. Thanks guys for watching. More awesome videos on the way, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. I have hundreds of others. Be sure to check those out. I got some awesome feedback from the Freelance Newbie podcast. People have been really enjoying the course and the book, so check that out if you're trying to get started making some money in this career field on your own terms. As always, I hope you guys are having a fabulous day, and I'll see you in the next video. Are you ready to jumpstart your freelance web development career? Freelance Newbie has you covered. In this video course, you'll learn practical, actionable steps you can start using today to get your first client by the end of the week. Freelance Newbie is produced by a working freelancer whose mission is to help people like you find success and financial independence. In Freelance Newbie, you'll learn how to develop a business plan from scratch. Don't worry, we go through it step by step. Find starter clients that pave the way for 5-star reviews, and then find full-paying long-term clients. Build your own freelance website to generate quality leads. Figure out a good pricing scheme for your services. Write effective proposals and contracts. Advertise for free or very cheaply for maximum brand exposure, and so much more. For the price of the cost of lunch, you can learn how to build a sustainable business doing something you love. Enroll today and make the change of a lifetime.